Welcome back to the channel, boys. Fat Balloonski's coming at your neck with another Destiny 2 video. This time I want to talk about some of the Warlock exotics I think are going to be pretty good coming up in Beyond Light. Not just ones that are paired with a new Shadebinder Stasis subclass, but ones that are just good in general that I highly recommend farming for, just because of the raid or any type of endgame activity that's coming in Beyond Light. So let's just hop right in. So first up on the list, and probably the best Warlock exotic that you're going to want to have for Beyond Light, is Transversive Steps. Now the armor perk that comes on it is Strange Protractor. Sprint speed is increased. After a short time sprinting, your currently equipped weapon is automatically reloaded. So this essentially gives you a buff to your movement speed, which will help you survive because it'll be more evasive and stuff like that. You'll be able to slide longer and crouch walk faster and stuff like that. You're just all around more faster, buffs your neutral game. And it also gives you pretty much auto-loading holster, but for the weapon you currently have in hand. So if you're running around with like a shotgun or something like that and you run out of ammo, you don't have to sit there, and let's say your shotgun doesn't have auto-loading holster, you don't have to sit there and slowly put in each bullet. You can just run around, get into a safer position, and after like a couple seconds, boom, your shotgun's reloaded. You can run right back in and keep doing damage. And this works for any weapon, honestly, any weapon. It can be a hand cannon, auto rifle, it does not matter. This gives you auto-loading holster. This is extremely good because there's a lot of times where you just can't sit there and reload. You gotta keep moving to stay around, or stay alive rather, and this right here will allow you to reload and stay alive, plus gives you increased movement speed. Any type of exotic that buffs your neutral game is a good one, and you're gonna want to have this one. Next up is Phoenix Protocol. Now this armor perk gives you Battle Hearth. Kills and assists you make while standing in your Well of Radiance return super energy. Now we all know how good Well of Radiance is, and this right here just makes it that much better. It actually kind of turns into almost like, not necessarily an ad killing super, but it allows you to get, you know, super energy back for killing ads. So it's like a pseudo ad killing because it's gonna buff your weapon damage, it's gonna buff your health, make you just stay alive for longer, and then as you stay in there, get kills, you're gonna get your well back. It means that you can put another one down, clear out more ads, or if there's a boss, you can just put the well down and get more damage for boss damage. So it's an all-around good exotic for honestly any activity. It never hurts to have a Well of Radiance in anything, so go ahead and get one of these as well. LUNAFACTION boots is next on my list. The armor perk that comes on it is Alchemical Etching. I think I'm saying that, etchings, I don't know, whatever. Your Rift gains the additional ability to increase weapon reload speeds. Empowering Rift makes weapons effective over longer ranges. So this right here, it actually used to give you, it got changed, but it used to give you auto-loading holster, or no, sorry, not auto-loading holster, but it made it so you didn't have to reload. You can just keep shooting. So if you had a grenade launcher with like 16 shots, you can just shoot all those 16 shots without having to reload. Now obviously that is broken in itself, so they changed it, so now it gives you an actually really fast reload animation for any weapon. So it's pretty good because if your weapon doesn't have auto-loading holster, like for instance Izanagi's, and you're trying to do damage with Izanagi's, you're standing in this and you can just get that honed edge ×4 extremely fast. Not to mention the fact that it makes your weapons better over longer ranges using Empowering Rift. But honestly, that's not why people use it, although it is a benefit. Most people use it paired with Well of Radiance because it does work in the actual well. So you see this a lot of times in raid groups to get that extra reload speed to make DPS phases that much better. Next up, we have Eye of Another World. Now this is a pretty simple armor perk, but it comes with Cerebral Uplink. Highlights priority targets and improves the regeneration speed of your grenade, melee, and rift abilities. It's pretty simple. All it does is buff your cooldowns, or sorry, makes them shorter. It makes your cooldown shorter for all your abilities. But being able to have a shorter cooldown is amazing because grenades and melees and rifts are really strong in the Warlock class. So being able to, let's say you pair this with the new Shadebinder subclass coming in Beyond Light, being able to have your melee, which freezes enemies on a shorter cooldown, makes it even better. Let's say you have 100 strength. This will honestly give you like almost tier 11. It'll make your melee even faster, the cooldown even faster. So that means that you can freeze enemies, use grenades, anything like that. Regardless of what your stat is on that, it just makes it that much shorter. So I highly recommend getting this one. Pretty simple, but highly effective. Next up on the list, we got NEZAREC'S Sin. Now the armor perk that comes on it is again another simple one, but honestly extremely effective. We got Abyssal Extractors, void damage kills, increase ability energy recharge rate. Now I want to note that it says avoid damage, not necessarily void abilities. So if you guys already know what auto rifle is running crazy in Destiny right now, Gnawing Hunger is a void auto rifle. So if you farm up one of those, get a really good PvE roll or PvP, it doesn't really matter. And let's say you're using a stasis subclass or any subclass really, being able to just use any type of void damage and get your abilities back faster is extremely good, and it's actually a pretty good recharge rate. So I highly recommend this one just for the simple fact that it's just void damage. Now if it was void ability damage, it would be a little bit different, but since Gnawing Hunger is very good, and I'm sure there's other ones that I can't even think of, you're going to want to have one of these if you want to run any type of ability based build. Next up is VERITY'S Brow. Now armor perk that comes on it is the 4th magic. Energy weapon kills grant death throws, which provides a bonus to the damage of your grenades and grants you grenade energy. When you have death throws and throw a grenade, nearby allies gain greatly increased grenade regeneration for a short time. And when they say greatly increased, it is very fast, extremely fast. So as long as you're using any type of energy weapon, honestly I would pair this with a primary energy weapon, so that way it's, your auto rifle or whatever it would be. You use an energy weapon, you're going to get your bonus grenade damage and gives you grenade energy. And it's honestly kind of a support exotic as well, because once you throw a grenade while having death throws active, it gives your allies shorter cooldowns on their grenades, thus making them, they'll be able to throw grenades more. It's just a really good exotic for yourself and your whole team, because it's a support exotic and a damage exotic because it buffs the damage on your grenade just for simply using an energy weapon. So I highly recommend this one as well. KARNSTEIN Armlets is another exotic that I think is going to be pretty good in Beyond Light. The armor perk that comes on is Vampire's Caress. Melee kills instantly restore a large amount of health and can continue to restore health afterwards for a short duration. And it's not even short, it's like 7 or 8 seconds, so it's pretty good. It's not 1 or 2 seconds, it'd be different. I wouldn't even have it on this list honestly if it was that short. But the fact that you can get health upon a melee kill and then continue to regenerate health for like 7-8 seconds after that melee kill makes your survivability skyrocket. And since that the meta is going to be shifted so much in Beyond Light, you don't know what to expect, so being able to stay alive until you can kind of figure out what's going on is really powerful. And especially in like raids or nightfalls or anything where deaths really matter, if you want to be able to stay alive and you're not necessarily worrying about any type of crazy build, put this one on. It's going to help you out tremendously just for the simple fact that you're survivable. You don't have to, your team doesn't have to worry about you. Let's say you're not the best at staying alive. This is your answer right here. Next up, we got Claws of AHAMKARA. Now this is the exotic that I'm honestly the most excited to use for the stasis subclass. Now the armor perk that comes on it is again another very simple perk. It simply just gives you an additional melee charge. But if you guys watch any type of Shadebinder, trailer or anything, the melee on the Shadebinder subclass is almost like you pull out your staff and it shoots these stasis projectiles which freeze enemies. So being able to have 2 of those, and let's say you're running 100 strength, and in the heavy-handed mod, the charge of light heavy-handed mod, yeah, you're gonna have your melee so much. And I'm personally, I think I have some in my vault that are pretty high strength roll, but I highly recommend. I think this is gonna be a sleeper. I don't think too many people are looking at this one and saying, oh yeah, this is gonna be good, but just wait. I think that this is going to be a top tier exotic paired with the stasis subclass. I don't know. I just feel like having 2 of those melee charges makes your crowd control even better. And then if you have high discipline as well, you can throw the stasis ice walls or the stasis field or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, this is going to be one that I'm going to main coming up in Beyond Light. Next, we got Vesper of Radius. Now this is a big sleeper, a huge sleeper. The main perk that comes on is Planetary Torrent. Rifts release an arc shockwave when cast. Rift energy recharges faster when you are surrounded by enemies. Now the only reason I'm throwing this on there is because back when they were showing off the stasis subclasses, they actually showed off one of the aspects or fragments. I can't remember which one it was, but it stated that whenever you popped your rift, it sent out a stasis field from that rift, almost like a stasis shockwave, I guess you can say, and it freezes any enemies nearby. So if you pair that with this exotic, so rifts release an arc shockwave when cast, you can have like your stasis go out and then the arc shockwave going out. So pretty much it's going to be freeze and then shock, or shock and then freeze makes for easy cleanup. I think that this is going to be a very good exotic for any type of close range build, because you have to be close in order for in order for that shockwave to hit them. So if you want to run around with like a shotgun like Lord of Wolves, or with like any type of close range weapon like an SMG or something like that, and you just keep throwing down rifts with 100 recovery, I think this is going to be really good, because you're going to be able to stay alive with a healing rift or do more damage with your empowering rift, while being able to crowd control from the stasis shockwave that comes out with that certain aspect or whatever, and then have an arc shockwave also go out whenever you pop your rift. I think this is going to be very good. You're going to see quite a few Warlocks running around with this, because once you realize the potential, I think it's going to be pretty good. And lastly, we got another slept on exotic, Sanguine Alchemy. Now the armor perk that comes on it is Blood Magic. Weapon kills while standing in any rift pause the rift countdown, extending the duration. Further kills maintain and extend the length of the pause. So if you're standing in your rift and freezing enemies and killing them, you're just going to be able to have your rift last so much longer just because of blood magic perk. So being able to stay alive or do more damage for longer periods of time is always good in my opinion. Pretty basic, but honestly I think it's really powerful. I've used it in some builds and I really enjoy this exotic, so try it out. If you like it, definitely farm up a high recovery stat on this one because I think it's going to be pretty good coming Beyond Light. Alright boys, there you have it, another Destiny 2 video, just highlighting some exotics I think are going to be really potent coming in Beyond Light. I listed some very top tier exotics that are no-brainers such as Phoenix Protocol and Transversive Steps, but I also listed some sleeper exotics like Vesper of Radius and Sanguine Alchemy. You guys can already see I have it on here paired with 100 recovery. But definitely farm up any of these exotics. Come back to this once Beyond Light drops so you can see what you need, and hopefully that these are, you know, some good exotics. Hopefully I made some right predictions. I'm personally very excited for Claws of AHAMKARA because having 2 melee charges I think is just going to be extremely powerful. Let me know which exotic you guys are thinking about, you know, getting, which roles and whatever. I don't know. I'm just extremely excited for Beyond Light, and I think the Warlock subclass is going to be very good because these exotic armor is just very good. You know, they're already good as it is, and a lot of them buff your neutral game and whatever. So having these exotics for Beyond Light is just going to make it that much better of an experience. But if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, and share. It truly helps me out a lot. You can also check out my other videos. Links are in the description below. I have a lot of crazy builds in there and some fun matches and stuff, so go ahead and check that out. And you might as well follow my social media. I have a Twitter and an Instagram, both at @fan_balloonskis. But with all that being said, deuces.